Imagine a world without eggnog during the holidays. As unthinkable as Santa Claus on a diet or reindeer without their antlers. This creamy concoction, often spiked with a dash of spirited cheer, has become synonymous with holiday festivities. But how did this humble beverage that occupies our fridges every December or early October, if you're like me, become such a holiday staple? The early version of eggnog was a symbol of prosperity and good health. From its medieval European roots as a posh winter warmer to its tumultuous journey across the Atlantic, where it was embraced with fervor in the American colonies, eggnog's story is as rich as the frothy beverage itself. Also, if I sound like I am a cast member from the Jersey Shore who's been chain smoking Misties, I apologize. I am sick. I've been sipping Pedialyte. I don't know why. I don't know what it does, but I'm desperate. But to make up for it, I am so festive. I won't keep this on because 1, it's daylight, and 2, that's obnoxious. Anyways, we are going to whip through centuries, exploring eggnog's evolution from a symbol of wealth and health to the cause of a riotous rebellion, and its eventual status a beloved holiday drink, although that is debatable. Not for me, I have eggnog right next to my Pedialyte. As I mentioned, the story of eggnog begins in the medieval halls of Europe, with a drink called Poset, and Poset, a precursor to eggnog, was a hot, milky, ale-like kind of drink. I cannot, in this moment, think of a drink that sounds more disgusting. During medieval times, posset was really popular among monks, and to complement their posset, or vice versa, they ate eggs and figs, suggesting early ties to what we now know as eggnog. Posset was more than a drink, though. It was also revered for its supposed medicinal properties. As posset evolved, it began to include more luxurious ingredients. By the 13th century, eggs and sherry were added to enrich the drink. This concoction was often reserved for the upper crust of society due to the cost and rarity of these ingredients. The rich, creamy texture and the warmth it provided made it ideal for warding off the chill of harsh winters. Its association with health and vitality was more than just cultural. It was believed to have restorative properties, a common belief about many foods and drinks during that era. In tracing eggnog's early beginnings, we see a beverage deeply intertwined with the social and economic fabrics of medieval Europe. Its evolution from a simple posset to a more refined and luxurious drink set the stage for its journey across the Atlantic, where it would become a staple of American holiday tradition. The transition of eggnog from an old world luxury to a new world holiday staple is a tale of a transatlantic journey and colonial adaptation. As Europeans made their way to the Americas, they brought with them their traditions, their taste, and of course, their beloved eggnog. Upon reaching the American colonies, the traditional recipe underwent significant changes due to the availability of different ingredients. In the colonies, the costly sherry was often replaced with rum, which was more readily available and affordable due to the triangular trade routes. This substitution not only altered the flavor profile of the beverage, but also made it more accessible to a broader segment of the population. The first recorded use of the word eggnog dates back to a 1788 New Jersey journal entry. And let me add here, eggnog's etymology is complicated. It is a bit all over the place. Some believe it originated from nog, which was a strong beer brewed in East Anglia, or noggin, a term for a small wooden mug. Others suggest its roots lie within the term egg and grog, combining the colonial slang for rum and the mugs it was served in. Whatever it derived from, eventually it would evolve into the term eggnog. This name change marked a significant step in the drink's Americanization. In the American colonies, eggnog quickly became a symbol of hospitality and celebration. It was commonly served during the holiday season, specifically at Christmas time. This tradition can be attributed to the abundance of farms in the colonies, which made ingredients like eggs and milk more accessible. Despite the changes in recipe and ingredients, the colonial version of eggnog really maintained its European roots in terms of its association with health, prosperity, and celebration. It was a drink that brought together families and communities, often serving as a centerpiece for holiday gatherings. One of the most notable eggnog fanatics was George Washington. Yes, the first president of these United States had his very own recipe, Georgie boy, and those infamous teeth, which, hang on, you know that whole belief that George Washington's teeth were made of wood? That is so far from the truth, which I'm sure most of us knew, like, yeah, probably not made of wood. But oh my god, it really could not be further from the truth. These fake ass choppers were made from gold, ivory, animal bone, and wait for it, wait, human teeth. And not just any human teeth. Human teeth he purchased from his African American slaves. Purchased. Who knows? Allegedly. I was blown to smithereens when I heard that. Anyways, as I was saying, Georgie Boy's eggnog recipe was known for being litty, as the children say, known for its potency and heavy alcohol content. Mr. Teeth over here did not just use rum. Oh no, he used rum, rye, whiskey, brandy, and sherry, making it a strong testament to the colonial fondness of spiked eggnog. Colonial Americans were just built different. Hearing that combination brought me back to being 18 years old and mixing all the alcohol in my house that was available into a water bottle. And let me tell you, a quarter of the way through that water bottle, questionable decisions were made. And by the middle of the bottle, I was vomiting in my friend's pasta pan. Cheers to that. What is that flavor? Ugh. Washington's spirited recipe continues to be cited as a historical and cultural artifact, showcasing Americans' early adaptation and customization of this drink. In this phase of its history, eggnog transformed from a luxurious European treat into a democratic communal drink in the New World. Its adaptation to local ingredients and its incorporation into the fabric of colonial life illustrate how cultural practices evolve and integrate with new environments. As we've seen, eggnog made quite a splash across the Atlantic, evolving from that nasty-ass Poset to a luxurious European beverage, and then into a beloved American holiday staple. But the story of eggnog does not end there. This is, in fact, the full and complete history of eggnog. Beyond its recipe transformations and cultural integration, eggnog has been the centerpiece for some intriguing, baddie moments throughout history. Really, it's only one event I'm referring to, although I'm sure that there have been plenty of baddie incidents around a holiday table while drinking eggnog, probably spiked eggnog. But the event that I am referring to is the Eggnog Riot. Yes, you heard me correctly, an Eggnog Riot. The West Point Eggnog Riot, also known as the Grog Mutiny, is a fascinating event in American history that occurred in December 1826 at the United States Military Academy at West Point, New York. At the time, the superintendent of West Point, Colonel Sylvanus Thayer, known as the father of the military academy, had imposed strict disciplinary standards, including a ban on alcohol. This was part of his efforts to transform the academy into a premier military institution. As we know, eggnog often included alcohol. The cadets, unwilling to forego their festive customs, planned to smuggle liquor into the academy to make eggnog for a Christmas celebration. Those cadets, including future Confederate President Jefferson Davis, who was always a naughty little shit apparently, managed to bring whiskey into the academy to make the eggnog. On the night of December 24th into the 25th, the party grew out of control. And for anyone who has been to a house party full of drunken dickhead chads,
what's up? I'm Chad Whiteman III. Welcome to my crib.
Have you heard sicko mode? Wait, listen. Boom, boom, boom. I got Bro, it's only a DUI if you get caught.
The riot that ensued would not be surprising. The situation escalated with drunken cadets causing a commotion, breaking windows, and even challenging the authority of their officers. Eventually, officers and faculty members intervened to restore order. The incident resulted in significant damage to the barracks. Following the riot, an investigation was launched. It led to the court-martial of 20 cadets and 1 enlisted soldier. The seriousness of the event was reflected in the involvement of high-ranking military officers in the proceedings. Several cadets were expelled, and others received various forms of punishment. The incident marked a significant moment in the history of the academy, humorously highlighting the tension between strict discipline and youthful defiance. Historically, eggnog's identity has been pretty fluid. The 1878 Modern Bartender's Guide differentiated from plain eggnog, egg milk punch, and even exotic variants like Baltimore eggnog and a Saratoga egg lemonade. Unfortunately, it's exactly what it sounds like. The ingredients and my mental image of what that looks like resembles something that you'd hawk up when you have the flu. I'm sorry for giving you that mental image as well, but you're suffering with me. Raw egg mixed with lemon juice. On top of other Christmas libations and your Christmas feast, could you even imagine what you'd feel like at the end of the night? Absolutely not. Clearly, eggnog has undergone a remarkable evolution, adapting to modern tastes and dietary trends all around the world. In Puerto Rico, for example, the traditional eggnog takes on a tropical twist with coquito. This concoction combines coconut milk, rum, condensed milk, vanilla, and spices, embodying the island's festive spirit and becoming an essential part of holiday celebrations. And coquito is my personal favorite as well. In Venezuela and Trinidad, a variant called ponche crema echoes eggnog's cultural reach, becoming a cherished part of Christmas traditions since the early 1900s. Further afield in Central America, countries like Guatemala and Honduras have their own take on the drink with rompopo. This version often includes almonds, lending a distinctive flavor and texture that sets it apart from its counterparts. In Europe, Germany offers Eierlikör, a variation that stands out with its rich custard-like quality. Made from a blend of eggs, sugar, and spirits like brandy or rum, it's frequently served in chocolate cups, adding a decadent twist to the experience. Back in the United States, innovation takes a bit of a different route. The traditional eggnog recipe has been adapted to suit a broader range of dietary needs, with the introduction of non-dairy and vegan versions. This inclusivity caters to the diverse dietary preferences of the modern consumer. The influence of eggnog extends beyond the drink itself, evident in its commercial presence globally. Bottled eggnog varieties available in supermarkets around the world range from those adhering to traditional recipes to others that present new and exciting variations. And bottled eggnog in America, basically not even close to legit eggnog, which really shocked me. So I found data and numbers because I'm mentally unwell and spend my Saturday nights learning the ins and outs of fucking eggnog, although I wouldn't have it any other way. That's genuinely my idea of a blasty blast, a gummy and the office on and researching nonsense. The specific percentage of eggs required for a commercial product to be labeled as eggnog can vary based on regional regulations and standards, but in the US, the Food and Drug Administration has established standards for eggnog, which are part of the Code of Federal Regulations. According to these standards, traditional eggnog must contain at least 1% egg yolk solids by weight. This requirement ensures that the product has sufficient amount of egg to be legitimately considered eggnog, which is crazy because 1% egg yolk in a commercial eggnog product is like a single sprinkle on a sundae. Quite a small amount, especially when you consider the overall composition of the drink. Eggnog is primarily made up of milk or cream, sugar, and spices like nutmeg, in addition to eggs. So the egg component, specifically just the yolk, makes up a relatively minor portion of the total ingredients by weight. Here's where I'm gonna come at you with the real nerd shit, so I apologize in advance. A standard large egg yolk weighs about 18 grams. Therefore, in a 1 liter batch of eggnog, which weighs approximately 1,000 grams, that 1% egg yolk would equate to 10 grams. This amount is roughly equivalent to the yolk from slightly more than half of a large egg. Given the volume of other ingredients like milk and cream, the egg yolk constitutes only a small fraction of the overall mixture. This proportion is enough to impart the characteristic richness and flavor associated with eggnog, but it is not a dominant ingredient by volume. The low percentage requirement also allows manufacturers to produce eggnog that is lighter and less calorie dense, while still meeting the regulatory definition of the product. So there you have it, the frothy saga of eggnog, a drink that's much more than just a holiday quirk. I find it so fascinating how a mixture of eggs, milk, and sugar has waltzed through history, picking up spices, spirits, and stories along the way. From its aristocratic beginnings to rebellious nights at West Point, eggnog has always had a knack for stirring up a bit of drama. Now, as we peer into the future of the egg and the nog, I wonder what's next for this creamy concoction. We've already seen vegan and non-dairy versions become incredibly popular, a nod to our growing environmental and health consciousness. And let's not forget about the global influences and the eggnog lemonade. We can forget about the lemonade, actually. But who knows what other variations are going to be stirred up. My biggest question when I think about the future of eggnog is how technology will affect it. And I went full on Jetsons imagining the future of eggnog. I watched this show and I cannot remember what it was for the life of me. I'm sorry. But they were basically showing what food and other things could look like in the future. And that's what flashed into my mind when I was thinking about this. Specifically, eggnog being used in molecular gastronomy, transforming it into foam and gels and little spheres. Now that I think of it, that's actually a very common prediction for food. You know, in the future, food will eventually just be bubbles and goo. But as we continue to blend tradition with innovation, one thing's for certain: eggnog is much more than a festive favorite. This creamy concoction is a journey across 400 years, a blend of history and taste that has traveled the world. It's a celebration of change, an emblem of how our palates and preferences evolve. Looking forward, who knows what innovative twists will be added to this classic recipe. And with all that, I am raising my glass of Pedialyte to eggnog, toasting to its storied past, its delicious present, and the exciting future flavors it's yet to reveal. Cheers to that enduring legacy.